Hi, welcome to Joanna's DIY Life. Today I am going to be showing you some of the items that I purchased from Amazon that make my sewing life a whole lot easier. These are some of my favorite tools to use in my sewing area, and I will show them to you and I will tell you why. Oh, if you see me in the same outfit, I do change my clothes. I'm just videoing all in one day, okay? It'll just go throughout the week. Anyways, let's go. My first favorite thing that I must say is in my craft room are my scissors. You have got to have a good set of scissors because you do not want to cut your fabric jagged, okay? You don't want to do that. I have the Singer set that comes with the scissors, the snips, which are awesome, and these little scissors that are handy. I also have in my links Mundial scissors. These are dressmaker shears, and these are the first scissors that I used in when I first started sewing years ago, and these are the ones that I fell in love with. I absolutely love these scissors. They're easy for my carpal tunnel, my arthritis in my hands. They're lightweight, but yet they cut like none other. I'm going to pull you down and I'm going to show you how easy these cut. First of all, don't mind my crappy fabric. This is what I practice with my sewing machines on when I restore, you know, the vintage models. But anyway, these scissors, this is 2 layers of fabric. They give clean cuts, just like butter, okay? While we're on the Singer set, if you have ends that you need to snip, these snippers not only slip, snip, thread, but they also cut fabric with ease. And if you have to make little snips for circles for turning, these are the best. You're supposed to hold them like this, I think, but I don't. I hold them like this just because that's more comfortable to me. But anyways, and then these, they snip those. They snip your threads. If you don't like holding those snippers, these are awesome for small cuts. Now let me show you the dressmaker shears. Okay, these are flat. They hold your fabric flat. These also hold your fabric flat. That is important when you're cutting around patterns. You don't want to lift it off the table too much. So these, easy cutting. As far as weight, they are similar in weight, but these are 2 of the best fabric scissors, in my opinion, for carpal tunnel and arthritis that I can find. Also, while we're on scissors, I also want to show you what it would be like if you had a pair of scissors that were not good for sewing. Okay, these will cut material, as you see, but they're slipping. You have to make shorter cuts, which causes more jagged edges and also frayed edges. Now when you go to sew this, it's messed up. It takes more effort to do the scissors. It's jagged. It's terrible. You want really good quality scissors. While you're down here, I'm going to go ahead with my Rotary cutters. This is my new Rotary cutter and the one I highly recommend. They also have blades. They are in my Amazon store. This is my sewing section. All these supplies will be listed in my sewing section. But this, you just push down and then release. When you are cutting, you hold your thumb here. This is an excellent grip. You can do stuff while you got them in your hand. Love this set. This is also a good one, and I have one in my store, I'm pretty sure. This is just another option. This is a good cutter. I don't prefer this option. It locks, and then when you want it, you just lock it back down. But this cutter, you know, I feel like I have less control with this cutter than I do with this type of cutter. So that's just options for you. Both are good cutters. While I'm on the cutters, this is an excellent ruler for rotary cutters. Okay, you can use it for vinyl as well, which is what it's intended for because it is a Cricut brand. Okay, but it has a rubber grip right here. It doesn't move. These are better than quilters' rulers, in my opinion. I'm not a quilter though. I just use it to you know, line up fabric. So with this rotary cutter and this, I like to hold it this way. You can do it this way as well, but I prefer this way. I feel I have more control. So I leave my hand back here, and this ensures that I don't cut my hand, okay? But there is a metal lip here, and some people complain that they run up the metal thing, but if you hold your rotary cutter here, slide it over, and then go down, this rotary cutter, you don't even really have to push. It just glides across the material so effortlessly, so smoothly, and it's an excellent cut every time. So this one, I definitely recommend. This, I definitely recommend. Bobbins. Good bobbins. Now, if you use a lot of thread, you're going to use a lot of bobbins if you use a lot of thread colors. These are from Mr. Penn, and they are the clear bobbins. And some machines prefer the clear bobbins. Some machines prefer the metal bobbins. This is actually your choice if you have a normal sewing machine. I prefer the metal bobbins, okay? They're just sturdier, and I like them a whole lot better in weight and all that. But my embroidery machine will let me know if my thread is running out if I have a clear bobbin. So I like to use these actually in my embroidery machine, and then these in my general sewing. But they're both Mr. Penn brand, and they are in my Amazon store linked for you. Excellent bobbins. Now, another thing, seam rippers. Look, I always promoted this one. I found the mini seam fix. I cannot speak today. Too much espresso coffee, I'm sure. But anyways, you need a good seam ripper. I love the Clover, but I use this for specific things. I use this for heavy weights. I repurpose denim jeans into denim skirts for me, and this will cut through the seam better than these. They're really, really sharp, and it has a good handle, you know. I'm just going to run it down the seam and show you. It pops these seams so easy. So I recommend this, but I only do that with heavy fabrics in my jeans. These I love because they not only rip your seams. Oh, I don't know what I'm thinking. But they will erase your stitches. And it pulls your stitches right out. This does the exact same thing. I already tested it as far as ripping out seams, and it does perfect. It'll go right in, pop that stitch, then you're able to wiggle in there and go right down it, and then clean your stitches up with your stitch eraser. I love these things. Love, love, love them. They are also linked. These are needle threaders. And I seriously cannot see sometimes to get down to my needles. I'll demonstrate this for you. What you do is you take your needle, and this has an edge on it. You put your hook up, run it through your needle, pull your thread on it. So your thread is on it, and then simply pull through your needle. Then you could take this hook and pull your thread out. It's easier than what it, on your machine. But I will tell you, on your machine, you'll have to run this between your needle bar and the machine and run it back through here. Okay? I only use these when I don't have an automatic threader, such as, with on my vintage machines, they don't have an automatic threader. So I use these a lot. And I got a lot of them, but they're really sturdy, but you never know when you'll need another one. And they work for hand sewing needles as well. So these are nice to have. Talking about needles, these are my favorite needles, a size 12. Most fabrics you sew, unless they're heavy fabrics, you need a size 12 needle. Schmidt's have them 80-12, and these are excellent needles for your sewing machine. I've used them for years. I also use organ needles when I can find them, but I get these, and they're 80-12s. They also come in different sizes for different weights of fabric. These are my favorite right here. And they are Microtex. They are extra sharp. You don't want to use these on knits or anything like that, or these either. You need a ballpoint needle. But this is for most cottons, quilting, and things like that. This right here, I use these also in my embroidery machine with certain threads that are finicky and don't want to sew for me. I use these Microtex. I love these needles. They are the best needles ever. With that being said, I've always promoted this, and I do love this. It has a side on it that has a flat side. When you go to change your needles in your machines, this will help hold your needle flat. Now, a lot of people don't like the needle threader because they don't use it correctly. The correct way to use this threader is to you have to put your thread through here. Let me see if I can do this. I'm not sure. Put your thread through the crack. Run this. You'll see it down your needle. When it gets to the hole, it will push it through. Pull it back. Your thread is in there. Then it has a hook. Sometimes you can come around and hook it or just pull it through. So the needle threader does work on these, okay? Most new machines have a needle threader, okay? I use these in my Venties. The only thing that I have found lately that helps me with my needles is this little gadget, okay? I have recently found this, and it's by Singer, I do believe, and I love it. Pull it out. It has a little hook in there. Pop your needle in there. Your needle's in there. All you have to do now is take it and put it under your machine, tighten your screw, push the knob, and take it off. This thing is awesome, okay? It's awesome, especially for the newer machines. If you're not dealing with vintage machines, you don't necessarily need this one. It's handy for this right here, but this is awesome. I love this tool. Now, with these tools, either one of these, any of these, I have pen pals. I peel this off and I put one of these pen pals on the side of my machine down towards the bottom or in the front. These will hold your little pen needle holders, either one. That way you know where they are. You do not lose them. It'll also hold your seam rippers. It'll also hold the bigger seam rippers. That way you're not losing your seam rippers. It'll hold your pins, whatever you need at your machine. You know, if you mark things, these are awesome. I have them on all my machines that need a needle threader, and then sometimes I hold my seam rippers. Another good thing to have on your machine is a command hook. If you place a command hook on your machine where it's not interfering with your wheel, but it's toward the front, you can set your snippers on your command hook and it'll hold your snippers. So when you need your thread snippers, they are right there for you. You never lose your snippers anymore. These are nice to have on your vintage machines, and all you do is take them out. There is a sticky back and it is sticky. These stick good. And I put them on my vintage machines that do not have thread cutters. I place them up like that. I'll bring the thread over or over this way, either way, usually from the back to the front, and cut my threads. These are very handy and very useful on your sewing machines. Or if your thread cutter, I have some older machines where the thread cutter just doesn't cut anymore. It's wore out. These work great for that purpose. I don't know about you, but I cannot stand when my sewing machine light is not bright enough. I love LED lights, okay? And I order these from Amazon. These go in some of my machines. I have never had a problem with these going in any of my machines. And I have a lot of machines. And I have this type. I have used both successfully, and I love them. They make a huge difference when you're sewing. So if your machine doesn't have LED or good lighting, these are awesome for your sewing machines. Coil-less, I think I'm saying that right, safety pins, okay? They are safety pins with no coil. The reason that I like these is because when I thread my elastic through and I run this through my elastic, it doesn't get pinched in the coil type and twist. These make it stay flatter for some reason. If you find that it's twisting, you just twist this over and it doesn't matter, you know, because there's no coil in there holding your elastic. I have this size, and I also have the smaller ones. These come from Hobby Lobby, but I think these are actually the ones that are linked in my store, and they are this size. And they will go through anything. I just use the big ones if I'm threading big elastic because it's less scrunching than this, but they both work fine. It's just me being lazy. So these, I believe, are the size that's linked in my Amazon store because the big ones are not there anymore. But these are awesome for stringing your elastic through your projects. Flat flower pins. Okay, these are flower head pins. I do not run any pins under my sewing machine anymore after my last incident of the money that I spent to fix the shaft. But anyways, these are flat. They're very sharp. They're by Dritz. There's some bad reviews on this. I don't know if they got a bad batch or what. But this, when you're pinning your fabric, these sit flat. The reason I like these is because when you pin your fabric, you don't have, like if you had a round pin, your fabric would come up. So you have a flat pin, your fabric lays down. They are long, so I don't have to have as many pins. And they're also flat colored so that when I'm at my machine, I can easily pick these out. Instead of, you know, it's a less chance of one getting hung under my machine. I used to use the white ones all the time, but I bought these because I'm going to switch out to all flatheads, just because that makes it easier for me to see it and get it out of my way. Some of you have commented on my videos and asked me about these and this magnetic tray. I have one of these in my Amazon store linked for you, and I also have these. They're a little bit longer than these, which might not be bad for people who have arthritis or problems pinching things. But I use these a lot, if you've seen any of my sewing videos, to, instead of pins, I just run these over, and they're like the Wonder Clips, okay? But these are hair clips. But I just run them under there. The reason I do this right here is because this is magnetic. So I can just fling them in there and they stick. See what I'm saying? The plastic ones do not do that. If you tip it over or you drop it, most of them will stay in here. Not all of them if you drop it, but most of them will stick in there. So I like these just because they're easier to use, and I have another one over at the machine. So when I clip these, I leave these here, but when I'm over there and I'm unclipping, you know, I just toss them in and they stick right in. It's easy, it's convenient, and it's fast. That's why I love this. These little screwdrivers right here are handy to have in your sewing arsenal. They fit right down on your machine, and they go under. They're short enough to go under those things and undo any of your plate screws. If you want to tighten your needle, this is good for that. Some of them have where the presser feet comes off and on, have a line on it. This will also unscrew that. These are very handy, and they are linked in my Amazon store as well. Another neat handy tool is this. This is a magnetic wand. I drop pins sometimes when I'm sewing. They'll flick, and I just run this around. I extend it and run it around the floor, and I'm able to locate all my pins and then bring them up to me and put them in my pin cushion. These things are handy, not just for that, but if you lose a screw in the floor, if you're working on your sewing machine or anything of that nature, they will pick that up. But you can also set it beside your sewing machine when you're working on it, and you can just stick your screws to it. That way you do not lose them while you're working. So these are handy to have in your room. You might want a thread rack. Some people store them in containers. Some throw them in bins on top of each other. That would drive me insane because you can't see what you got. I am a visual person. I have to see what I have. Before I got my pegboard, I use these. If you don't have a lot of thread, these are awesome. They stand up. They have little things. They stand right on your table. They hold 60 spools of threads. I will give you a little tip. I didn't have room on my table. So I took these little screw hook thingies, picture hangers, and I had to drill a little hole first because the wood is kind of tough. But I drilled them in there, and then I put my little thing on the wall and hung these on the wall. I had 4 of these at one time. They will hold your bobbins as well. A lot of people stack them up on the bottom, but they will hold big threads, little threads, normal threads. All of your threads will fit on here. Serger cones do not fit on here, but these hold any kind of thread, and they are very, very nice and handy to have. Your iron. I have went through several irons, and when I was doing clothes, I would burn them out. I am not kidding. I have had this iron for a while now, and it is, I think it's called Butyrol. I've showed this before in other videos. This is awesome. It's got auto shut off. It's digital. It holds a lot of water at one time. It's easy to refill. I use a water bottle filled with tap water. They only recommend tap water from your faucet in these irons. That's what it was designed for, and that's what it uses. Now, my pastor's wife has one, our first lady, and trust me, she irons, I think, every day, everything. So she has been using this for months, and she said it is going strong, and she absolutely loves it. It has extra high temperature. It goes up to linens. It's got acrylic, nylon, silk, polyester, and rayon, blends, wool, cotton, jeans, and linen. This gets super hot, and it has super good steam, and it's a good iron. This is another good iron. It's called a Steam Fast, and a lot of quilters use this at their table or beside them when they're pressing their seams open. It is a really good iron, and it does put out pretty good steam when I put water in it. You can use this for travel as well. It fits perfectly in your suitcase, but I use this also for ironing small spaces, ball caps, and things like that when I'm doing vinyl as well. So this is versatile to use for anything. I had it the other day at my desk with me doing a video with some Heat and Bond light, and you know, you can just take it places that your bigger iron can't go, and it's just nice. It's a nice little iron. Well, now you've seen some of my favorite things that I like to use when I'm sewing. These are all linked in my Amazon store, like I said, and there's also thread linked there because your thread is very important. You need good, high quality thread. And I have a whole sewing kit over there, and then I have a set of basic threads, but when you click that link, they have different colors you can choose from. So anyways, these are just some of my favorites that I wanted to show you and why I use them and why I love them. So I hope you liked this video. If this gave you beneficial information, that was big for me, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and ring that bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Thank you for watching. You are a blessing. Goodbye.